All right, so now we're going to look at one last type of compound sentence. Remember that compound sentences join two independent clauses together with some type of glue. Independent clauses are complete sentences that have a subject, verb, and a complete thought. In this case, our glue is going to be a conjunctive adverb. Now, there is no fancy kind of acronym to help you remember these, but I like to call them lawyer words because they sound like words a lawyer might use in a closing statement or an argument of some sort. So these are just a small list of some available conjunctive adverbs to you. Instead, meanwhile, still, also, nevertheless, however, likewise, therefore, finally, and indeed. So there is a particular formula that you're going to use. It is a independent clause, a semicolon, conjunctive adverb, so one of those words, a comma, and an independent clause. The punctuation marks on this particular structure can be the most complicated for students, so just make sure you're paying attention to the semicolon before, comma after. Now, sometimes in literature, you'll see a conjunctive adverb, a comma, and then the independent clause. So they just kind of eliminate this bit of the formula. For instance, of what we're doing with these grammar assignments, I do want you to have the formula here, but keep in mind that this is also perfectly fine as far as writing is concerned. So let's look at some examples. All right. They say we have equal pay, semicolon, meanwhile, comma, a woman earns 75 cents for each man's dollar. So they say we have equal pay, that is an independent clause. A woman earns 75 cents for each man's dollar. It is the second independent clause. It is joined by a semicolon, the conjunctive adverb, and a comma. And the conjunctive adverb in this case is meanwhile. I love all my siblings, independent clause. If we heard that by itself, it would be a complete sentence. Semicolon, however, comma, they still get on my nerves, independent clause. All right, down here is a professional model. So you'll notice there are 3 quotation marks here. This is just because this was being said out loud. It was already in quotation marks for dialogue in the book written by Harrison on page 313. It's impossible to reverse a physical reaction like this. Independent clause. Semicolon, therefore, comma, you can't reinstate the lines. And that's our second independent clause. Okay, so with this particular case, just as straightforward as the other compound sentences, the trick is making sure that you are paying attention to the semicolon before the conjunctive adverb and the comma